Hello, everybody. We're Geeking Out Ninjas, and we're here to geek out. How you doing, Craig?
I'm doing pretty good, Jeremiah. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Last week you were just doing fine,
I think the
and
week
this
before I
week,
was too, but
but you're pretty good this week.
that is my alternative way of saying fine. I told you I have a bunch of different ways of saying the same thing,
Right, right.
just so people don't ask follow-up questions. Pretty good is the equivalent to fine.
I see that. I see that. Well, awesome. We have a lot to talk about today. Do you want to give us a little
A little
pre-cap?
recap before we get started.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about recycling EV batteries. Get excited for that. Are you ready to try out a TV for 100 days and return it? Maybe you are looking to get a new iPhone 13 with some super fantastic deals from carriers. Uh, Rolls-Royce making an electric aircraft. Um, Charging your phone wirelessly wherever you want to. And we're going to be talking about Microsoft's new products that they announced on Wednesday. Get
Yes.
excited. Now we're about to find out what's new with Jeremiah.
That's awesome. Okay. We have a lot to talk about, so I do want to I got to say what's on my mind. And that is I was very upset with ESPN.
Ooh, who
Very
isn't?
upset. Very upset. So here's the deal, right? I got rid of cable. I'm going to streaming services,
As most people are doing nowadays.
right? And I enjoy that. I've got several different ones that I've chosen up to this point. I am probably paying close to what I mean, $50 a month, give or take a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And but the beauty of streaming is you get access to different things. It's almost like a cafeteria plan, right? I pick the streaming services I want because they have the shows or the movies that I want. Easy peasy, no problem.
Lemon
This is
squeeze.
something you could never get with cable, right? Cable, you get a package, that's the channels you get, whatever. Okay. What I am not happy about is up to this point now in my life, I'm probably the only sport that I really kind of watch, but it's not even a huge part of my life like it used to be is football, NFL football. Used to be just live or die. My team lost, my day was ruined.
Yeah.
So gotten out of that habit, but I still like to watch football. It's still, something I enjoy doing. I wanted to watch the Monday night football game this past week.
Oh.
Wanted to watch it. So I thought it's on ESPN. I'll just get the app, ESPN Plus. Boom. Monday Night Football, ready to go. Wrong. Nope. It was not streaming on the app.
Oh yeah.
You had to
Because that.
log in with a carrier,
Yep.
Spectrum, DirecTV, whatever it was, to get access to the game. Stupid.
Yep.
Stupid. Stupid. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So I called them actually and canceled it like within 10 minutes of me getting the app. And I got to someone pretty quickly, and then they refunded my money. They said, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Only some Monday night games will be available on the app." But I'm like, this is ridiculous. We're all getting away from cable. I'm going to pay for a monthly fee to use your app. Why can't you give me something you already have programming for, and you're
Yeah.
already paying announcers, blah blah blah, whatever. So, was not happy on Monday. Not that I missed a lot, but it wasn't one of my favorite teams playing. But so
Yeah.
now I have to go somewhere to watch a Monday night game when my team is playing.
Yeah. I'll send you a special link that'll let you watch it wherever you are.
That's awesome.
Um.
Uh,
So here's the deal. So I mean, ESPN Monday Night Football. That's not the only problem with streaming sports, and I
no,
and I feel like at some point this is going to come to bite baseball in the butt. The way they categorize home games for your market is ridiculous. So
Right.
like, I think the Houston Astros are my home team, so I cannot watch their games on national television. They get blacked out. I also cannot subscribe to the MLB TV app and watch either the Rangers or the Astros because they are both considered home teams for San Antonio. And I'm like, I don't live anywhere near these places. Why can I not subscribe to MLB TV and get those games? This is like been going on for, I don't know, for like 10 plus years since MLB TV was a thing. And I think eventually it's gonna bite MLB in the butt. People are, like you said, people are subscribing less and less to cable plans, and that's normally where you see these teams play is on, like, in the past it would be like Fox Sports Southwest or something
Right.
like that. You'd be able to watch the Astros and the Rangers. Yeah, it's like I mean I don't subscribe to anything. There's no way to subscribe to just those channels. It's like I have no interest in anything else. So it's
Exactly.
like in that case, I'm just not going to watch the games. It's like you are losing a fan because I can't watch it in a convenient way for me.
Exactly. Well, one thing I'll say about the NFL, so they have this thing called the Sunday Ticket,
Yep.
which has been with DirecTV since they started it, which was, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, whatever it was. But what's interesting and actually made me kind of happy is that Amazon Prime is making a play for the Sunday Ticket. I don't know if it's next year or the year after. They're looking to get that contract for $1 or $2 billion. I think NFL's looking for $2 billion. Amazon Prime said $1 billion, which would make, I think that would help change the landscape of streaming services in sports, because Amazon Prime, which I have, I
Yeah.
think you do as well. Now the Sunday Ticket would cost extra, I would assume, because it does now. It's not part of a cable package, but having a major streaming network company, whatever you want to call it, is pretty impressive.
I think to me, it shouldn't have to go through a streaming. You shouldn't have to have Amazon Prime. You should be able to just subscribe to it regardless of what you'd have or don't have. That's the downside to a lot of this crap. Excuse me for cursing.
Your curse
But
words.
it's annoying the way this whole thing works. Being a sports fan is a punishment at this point. They don't want you to just be able to watch the games because there's too much money involved, which makes it less of a game and too much of a business. So
Right.
it's kind of the seeing too much of how the sausage is made makes it less appealing.
Now I did buy indoor HD antenna
Yep.
to get my local games on Sundays free over the air
It's the way to go.
broadcast. And it works great. I think I went on Amazon. I got one for, I don't know, $20, $25 maybe.
Yeah.
Really easy to install. Just taped it. I don't get one of the channels. I don't get the local affiliate for ABC for whatever reason.
I
It
think
just
they're facing in the opposite direction of all the other channels.
it probably is, but I forget. And there are a bunch of high def channels
Yeah, for
for
free.
free.
Yeah, and they look better than cable.
Yeah, it's a lot, and most of them are kind of like different kinds of reruns.
Oh
Like
yeah,
there's a classic rerun station had the Jeffersons on when I plugged it in.
there's some
There's
that show
a
like
sci-fi
westerns all the
one.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. If you're into watching older shows, there's like sub channels to all the channels, which is really fun to kind of look and explore and see what they have.
yeah, exactly. And now the only thing that I miss, and I know there are ways to get it, would be a DVR for my sports games.
Yeah,
I did like to be able to fast forward commercials, but what cable charges for DVR service is ridiculous. And then they took away the home DVR. I don't know if you remember that, where you had one DVR and all your TVs could watch whatever show was
oh, yeah.
recorded. They took that away.
So
last time I had Spectrum.
there are some alternatives to that, and most of them come with like a small monthly fee. But I use Plex, which is just a computer set up on my network. Um, and then I have a hard drive plugged into it, like a 2 terabyte hard drive plugged into it, and then I have what's called an HD home run. So the antenna is actually plugged directly into that. That thing plugs into the network, and then I can record everything to the Plex and then watch it from wherever I have access to Plex. So I could watch it whether I'm in the house or if I'm away from the house and I want to watch something live or recorded. It'll even strip out commercials for you, which is super nice.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth it. I think it's like $5 a month if you do the DVR. But $5 a month is kind of easy for me to. But they also have a lifetime subscription that you can. A lot of times they have on sale for like $80 for a lifetime subscription.
Oh, wow.
And I think the full price is like $120. So there's a lot more features that come with that, but that kind of gets you from having to pay the $5 a month because it's just included in that lifetime subscription.
Well, and with my streaming services, I just love the fact that I don't have commercials anyways because I pay for whatever in commercial free. So
yeah, but some of those are starting to add commercials, which is super annoying. Like if you don't get the high enough Hulu plan, and I think even if you get the higher Hulu plan now, some things still include commercials.
Yes, I don't have Hulu
Max
anymore.
I only have it because my mother-in-law subscribes to the Disney bundle that includes ESPN, and Hulu, and all that stuff. Right. So sometimes I'll check out things on Hulu, but it's like everything still has a commercial, so it's kind of annoying. HBO Max now is a commercial-based product. DirecTV, not DirecTV. I cannot think of the other one. There's another big one, another streaming platform that has commercials built into. Oh, Paramount. Paramount now has, which used to be CBS All Access, is now like Paramount Plus, has a commercial-based plan. It's like, if I wanted that, wouldn't I just like watch cable? Like you're not saving that much money, and now you're having to essentially double fund them. Like you're paying for it and they're making money on the commercials. It's a sleazy way to do it.
It is. It is.
It's going to happen more and more.
So I don't like ESPN Plus at the moment. That's the bottom line.
That's what you should get out of that conversation.
That whole conversation, like ESPN Plus, ruined my evening. So whatever.
All right, Jeremiah, let's get into the news, and let's start with a little bit of battery recycling. I think this is a logical next step for EV vehicles. So I don't know his job title at Tesla, but a former Tesla chief technology officer at Tesla, JB Straubel, decided to start a EV battery recycling company. And I've heard about them for a while now, and they haven't really done, I think, a ton. They're trying to get the business where it's like, okay, come to us. We'll be your recycler / we'll use the recycled materials, give them back to you, make batteries, do all that stuff. So what's cool is that Ford is investing $50 million into this company. And what they're trying to do is to be more integrated as a recycling partner. And what that means is they're trying to get it to where they're like a full loop, like a closed loop system where the company will recycle the batteries, any scrap materials, anything battery related. They'll recycle and salvage like new or recycle materials that were in the batteries, like lithium, nickel, cobalt, and copper. And then what you can do, especially with lithium, is like 99% recyclable. Like they can reuse almost everything, put it in a new battery, and it's like good to go.
Right.
It's not like it's been used or anything like that. It's like a brand new fresh battery that they can then just put into a new car, and you're good to go. And I mean, there's a lot of benefits to that. Obviously, the mining of lithium is very difficult. It's controlled mostly by Chinese interests, and I think there are some American lithium mines that they're trying to get online and make a
Few.
bigger deal, bigger push into it. But
Mhm.
um, at some point you could get to where you don't have to mine the lithium or some of these other materials because you're just recycling
Right.
over and over and over again. None of this stuff should ever end up in a landfill or anything like that because there are recycling companies like this. So they're not the only ones. There are General Motors is working with a Canadian company to recycle their scrapped waste from batteries, um, and then they will go ahead and reuse that material to make new batteries. So I mean, there's a bunch of different companies. Nissan, a company called Specialized, certain scrap from Tesla and Panasonic that are at the Gigafactory in Nevada. Those are all that material is being recycled by this Redwood Materials company. So it's great that it's happening, and the sooner that this can happen, the better, because this is, very, very much needed.
100%. Yeah, it's great.
I've lost all of my highlights from.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I spend so much time highlighting things. All gone.
Oh, all of it?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
I think it's because I had to do some. I lost internet connection for a minute, and I think when you do that, you lose.
Oh, it loses.
You use the highlights. Yeah.
I will say that my internet has been very bad today, so I may disconnect from you at some point during
Mine
this
actually,
episode.
mine was actually bad today too. Like every I don't know, like 5 or 10 minutes, I would like have a blip that would
Hmm.
cause an issue. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I restarted my router, so I'm hoping that solves my issues. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in a meeting this afternoon and
The blue.
terrible, just terrible.
It's always fun. I hate
Yes, it
having
is.
hate having these kinds of issues at my own house because I just don't want to deal with them.
Right, right. Well, now you can get a TV, and if you have an issue within 100 days, you can return it.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't
It's
think I've ever heard of a company do this, and this seems like a really big gamble on their part, but there are a lot of things you have to jump through to make this process work for you.
Yes. So the 100-day guarantee is with the company called Hisense. I actually have one of their TVs, by the way.
Nice.
And what the offer is basically is a 100-day guarantee, which basically you can buy the television, try it out for 100 days in your home, in your own room, your own house, whatever it is. And if you don't like it, well, you can actually just send it back to Hisense and get the full refund. And there's different models that are included in this 100-day guarantee that they're offering, a U6G, U7G, and a U8G. So it's specific models with Hisense. I guess they're testing this out on some different models. Basically, the way that you got to go buy the TV from one of the approved resellers, Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, PC Richard, between September 9th and October 31st. So you pay the full price for the television, you bring it home, and you try it out.
Well,
You do.
you have to register it on your TV on Hisense's promotional website as part of the program within 14 days of getting the TV, or else you won't be able to return it.
Exactly.
That's one of the caveats. There are a lot more.
There are a ton. You got to take pictures of it, for example, to make sure that it was undamaged. Uh, then you got to go back to the website that you basically you're submitting the claim, and then they send you a prepaid shipping label. At which point, then you have 21 days to send it back. Once the TV gets back, that's when you get your refund. And it's in a prepaid Visa debit card or a PayPal transfer.
Yeah, to me, this doesn't really seem worth it. Like first of all, there's far too many steps. There are a lot more than Jeremiah has listed.
Yeah, I kind of skipped over.
Yeah, he skipped over a lot of the like smaller detailed stuff, but it's very in depth. They do send you a box, which is nice because a lot of times you throw that gigantic box away and you're like, all right, I'm done with this. So
Yeah.
nice that they give you the box for it. But yeah, this is they do either recycle the TV or refurbish the TV. I think if they were to recycle the TV that I sent back, I don't know, man, that seems like a huge waste at that point.
Well, so like I said, I have a Hisense TV. I think mine's a 65 inch. I couldn't tell you the model number. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I bought it, or 60 inch, whatever. I bought it on a Black or Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
It might have been Black Friday. I don't remember, but it was like $225.
Yeah.
For the Hisense TV. So you can get them really good price. I mean, that's a really good price for that. And that's the only reason I bought it. I will say within 2 weeks of having it, it broke.
Yeah. Well, so Hisense has gone through the same phase that a lot of TV manufacturers have gone through, like Vizio went through, where it's like, we're going to be the price leader. We're going to be the cheapest TV you can find, get into the market, make a name for themselves. Now they are making, like, some of their more expensive TVs are some of the better TVs you can buy. They're still not as good as like the Samsung, the LG, like OLED TVs, or even some of the, like, Samsung and Sony's LED TVs, but they're like in the top 5 TVs now if you get like the expensive ones.
Right.
If you get the cheap ones, I mean, you're still getting a cheap TV. So.
You get what you pay for, but I will say, because it was still within the manufacturer warranty, they sent someone out to repair it.
Nice.
And they could not. So we did have to ship it out. And once they got it, they sent us back one.
Nice.
So I've had the TV probably almost 2 years now, maybe 3. It's 2 or 3. The remote has gone out on it. I've gotten my $225 out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, really, for what I paid for and what it does, it's not the greatest, and it broke and whatever, but hey, it was cheap.
Yeah.
I'll never do that again. But for the time and for what I wanted it for, it kind of worked out. So
served its purpose.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
So if you want to, you can try it out and then send it back, but it's probably not worth it.
All right. Next one is iPhone 13 deals are extra aggressive this year, and we're going to tell you why. So The Verge is one of my favorite websites on the planet, just period. But they did a very in-depth article on this, and if you want to read all of the details about it, I recommend going to theverge.com and looking for the article. But you may be seeing a bunch of promotional deals and you're like, holy crap, like, how is that possible? How is it that good? And whether you choose T-Mobile, Verizon, or AT&T, they kind of all offer the same basic premise. You'll be paying for the balance of your device in monthly installments. So you must qualify and sign up for a typically more expensive unlimited plan that ties you to your phone and carrier for at least 24 months or 36 months if you go with AT&T. Those are some of the gotchas. So they once you've signed up, you're with them for at least 2 years, unless you want to pay an early termination fee, those are pretty steep usually.
Yes, they are. And can I say something?
Yeah,
real quick. Just it's just ironic. As I'm looking at this article, there is an ad for an AT&T iPhone 13 Pro for $0 with eligible trade-in. That just happens to be the ad that's playing right now while we're looking at this article.
Just goes to show you how aggressive they're trying to be right now. So the new plans that you sign up for will also control when and what device you can upgrade to next. which helps carriers and phone manufacturers better forecast the demand for devices. And if you're already an existing customer, at minimum, you have to be willing to upgrade to the premium plans at Verizon, an unlimited plan at AT&T if you're not already on one, or take a lesser trade-in offer at T-Mobile. So there's a lot of gotchas in this one too. To some extent, we're back to the subsidy model that existed a decade ago when people routinely got an iPhone for $200 but paid higher monthly rates. So you're essentially paying for the phone later on,
Right.
is what's happening. So it looks good up front, but they kind of got you by the short hairs for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So obviously this benefits Apple as well as the carriers. They're all looking for ways to sell more phones. Americans are holding on to their phones longer. It's just the way it is. Nothing about phones year to year is really that drastic change. And so people are just not splurging for that new phone. And this is like one of those ways where they're trying to essentially manipulate you into buying a new phone with all these gotcha deals.
Right. Yeah. I've been keeping my phone for at least 2 years, if not longer now, because
Yeah.
I just don't need anything that's coming out.
Be careful.
Beautiful.
You excited about that new Roku streaming stick that's coming out?
I don't have any. Well, my daughter has a Roku TV. I don't have a streaming stick. I don't use Roku. I don't know why. I just don't.
Yeah, so I do have a Roku and I don't use it anymore because I prefer Android TV. But
Right.
Roku has announced a new streaming stick 4K today, meant to replace their Streaming Stick Plus that's currently out. So the benefits really are it's faster, 30% faster, and a lot of these streaming sticks they're a little sluggish. I know
Right.
that like the Fire TV sticks are pretty sluggish from ones that I've used and heard other people use. So to get a 30% boost in speed should be pretty nice. Better Wi-Fi connectivity, and it supports some new 4K and high dynamic range formats. So it includes Dolby Vision, which is probably the better HDR format, and then HDR10 plus, which the previous Roku streaming stick did not support. So that's kind of a bonus, and it includes 4K. So this is a good upgrade if you have an older one or you don't have any sort of smart TV functionality. This is kind of a nice, inexpensive way to get in. It is $49.
It is. I just
I would,
prefer it to be in the TV.
yeah. So I don't like mine in the TV. Actually, I would prefer my TV to be completely dumb and me to be able to upgrade whenever I want to, because the internals of the TV are going to stay the same for the next however long you have the TV.
Well, that's true.
It's going to slow down eventually, so I'd rather be able to replace it. That's just me.
Well, you can though, because they all have HDMI ports, so you can always.
Not necessarily. So this I don't want to get like too into the nitty gritty, but so some of these formats that are required for some of the newer technologies, you have to have HDMI 2.1 to get some of the newer
Okay.
things, or at least HDMI 2.0 to get, I think, like Dolby Vision and HDR10 plus. And then your TV may not support it, and I mean it's a whole deal. So yeah, it's kind of a pain. But so they also have a Roku streaming stick 4K plus. The benefit to this is it comes with the voice remote, so you can actually use it to do searches with your voice, as well as it will allow you to find the remote by saying, "Hey Roku, find my remote," which is pretty handy.
Is amazing.
Yeah, I have used that.
I will say that on my Hisense TV, I do have a Chromecast connected to it because I can't. It has Android TV, but it doesn't let me cast to the TV. I have to actually go to the Chromecast if I want to cast from another device onto that TV. So I don't like Hisense or ESPN. streaming services.
This is really just a show about what does Jeremiah not like.
Yes.
We're just going to find out all the things.
So now we're going to talk about whether or not I like Google foldables. Well, I don't know yet. We're going to find out pretty soon.
Oh.
I assume Google is. When is Google's big? How do you do?
So I don't know. They haven't really. Google's weird about the way they do their announcements. I mean, they've essentially announced the Pixel 6 already. Right. You can go see it at their New York store behind glass. You can't hold it yet. Nobody knows the price. It's super bizarre. Nobody knows all the specs behind it. I mean, there's a bunch of theories and people are figuring things out, but nothing official has been announced. It's very bizarre how they're doing this whole thing. It's supposedly released like October 14th or something like that.
Right.
We'll find out more
as we get closer.
Real close. Real soon, I'm assuming.
Right. And so the next article that we're talking about is assuming that there's going to be a Google Pixel Fold.
Oh, there will definitely be.
We talked
about this
a couple
months ago, I think. The rumors have indicated that there will be 2 separate Google Pixel Folds. And they're going to be exactly like the Samsung foldable devices. They're going to essentially be the Galaxy Z Fold, which is the one that folds like a book.
You're right.
And then there's going to be the one that looks exactly like the Galaxy Z Flip, which is like an old flip phone.
Like the Star Trek.
Yeah. So from everything that people can find out and know, they're going to look exactly like those devices. I doubt they're going to look different at all. I will be completely
getting
shocked.
One of those?
No, I don't think I would want a foldable at this point. Maybe next year if it does well enough, but
I think you should be the pioneer and you should go ahead with your next phone. You should go ahead and get one of those.
No, I don't think so. I like the idea of the flip version of the phone just because it's smaller in your pocket, but I feel like it would be slightly more annoying pulling it out of your pocket and having to flip it open and do all that stuff. So I'm a simple man. I just like things to kind of pull out of my pocket. It's like unlocked already by the time it gets to my face. I don't have to worry about things and I'm good to go.
There you go.
So the Android team is working on an out-of-cycle update to Android, which would focus on foldable functionality. Everybody's calling it Android 12.1 because 12 will be coming out with the new Pixel phones. I think actually it's going to be released on October 5th. But one of the big additions will be an iPad OS-style taskbar interface, which is kind of the way Chrome OS works as well. So there's just like a little dock at the bottom with your most frequently used apps and recently used apps. I'm assuming you can customize that however you want to, which, to be honest, is not all that different from the way an Android phone looks. I mean, it's got the apps at the bottom there. So it's going to be interesting to see how Google handles this with software. Really, to me, this seems like one of those Google needs to figure out how foldables are going to work. So they're building the device themselves to make sure and build the device themselves. I mean, Samsung's building it for them. And this will just allow them to test software better than if they were to have to work with the third-party manufacturer and work with their software department. So honestly, this is what I think it is just one of those, we're going to figure this out on our own, figure out what's the best way for foldables to work, and how the software is going to work with it. So we'll probably see it in December is a possibility. It'll
Christmas.
Christmas device. There you go.
I love their code name for the Galaxy Z Flip. They're calling it the Jumbo Jack.
Oh yeah.
I guess because I don't know. It's reminds me of a jumbo jack burger.
Yeah, someone mentioned that in another article I read. So most Pixel phones are named after fish, like the code names are fish. And I think there's another specific kind of device that's named after something else, and they're like, yeah, now they're gonna make all the foldables named after burgers or something like that. So, which is not true because their flip phone is called the Passport.
The Passport, yeah, the other flip.
But it was just kind
foldable.
It was a funny joke.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the all-electric Rolls-Royce aircraft.
Yeah. Rolls-Royce makes a lot of aircraft engines, so this is not too surprising. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that. So they've actually tested it, and it's an all-electric, how do you say that? eVTOL aircraft? Or is it
the VTOL is a vertical takeoff and landing. Yeah.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Nice.
So they tested that on a 15-minute maiden flight. Yeah, so
there it is right there. Electric vertical takeoff and landing.
So they're working on two different kinds. So they're working on a fixed wing and then the VTOL design with another company. And they're hoping that this will be ready to, be a delivery aircraft, or not delivery aircraft, sorry, short distance commuter by 2026. So they're like pushing this in 5 years. They're hoping that they can get this to where it needs to be to.
What is short?
What's considered short distance? I don't know.
Thank you.
Honest.
Short distance. There it is.
They don't mention what a short distance flight would be. My guess is probably like if you were to go from here to Dallas or Houston or something like that. That'd probably be considered a short flight.
Wow.
So
there
are 3 72 kilowatt hour lithium batteries inside the aircraft, weighing 990 pounds a piece. So it's like 3,000 pounds in batteries alone.
Right.
That they're having to work with. They do have the energy of a Tesla Model 3, though.
Yes. I was just reading this here, and it says just recently they cut the packaging to the battery cell weight in half, or the ratio of the cell weight, the battery. Just caught my eye. Yes. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No,
so it's on par with the Tesla Model 3.
Yeah, but they're saying they're going to have to make it 3 times as energy dense. So to go from 165 watt hours per kilogram to 500 watt hours per kilogram to compete with large commercial airlines, but they don't think that technology will be available until 2030. So that gives you a little more of a timeline on when electric airplanes will really be a commercial enterprise.
Well,
so minimum of 2030, but probably sometime in the 2030s is really when that'll happen. So I think that's, if nothing else, this article gives you a little more insight into that timeline of electrifying an aircraft. Because Rolls-Royce has been doing airline or aircraft engines for a really long time. So their engineers really know what they're doing and really have a good take on how long this is going to be before it becomes viable.
And already the UPS, the delivery company, is committed to purchasing 10 electric aircraft from Beta Technologies, which is crazy. They've already committed to buying at least 10 of them.
Yeah, I'm curious what that's going to.
What? Yeah,
those are also short distance flight planes. So I'm curious what benefit UPS is going to get out of it, other than a
write-off,
a marketing thing or something.
Green.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll fit my TV on there that I'm returning to Hisense.
I don't think that's going to happen. No. It's going to just be carrying other lithium ion batteries or something like that.
Right.
So Ikea is coming out with a new wireless charger. So I have been familiar with their old one. They apparently came out in 2015. So this one, the old one, you used to have to drill a hole like into the table, and then you could put it like really close to the back of a uh, table, or you had to like put it in the table itself. You know, making it to where that piece of furniture was forever a wireless charging
Right.
piece of furniture.
On that one spot.
Yeah, on that one spot, or else you would just have a hole there forever.
Yes.
So they have improved that design quite a bit. There are still some caveats to that, but this one allows you to stick it to the underside of furniture. It will not work on metal. This is mostly going to be for a wooden table. Between the as long as the tabletop is between 3/8 and 7/8 of an inch thick,
Which is not very thick.
Which is not very thick. It's almost an inch, which, you know.
So I'm sitting at an IKEA desk right now, and it's at least 2 inches thick.
Yeah,
so
that's the funny thing the article points out. The charger isn't compatible with a lot of IKEA's own furniture.
Right.
So I think this is great for those like nightstands that have like an opening in the middle, kind of towards the top, or maybe there's like a drawer or something there. Or maybe you have like an end table or a coffee table or something where it's not too thick and you want to be able to charge without having to have cords and all that everywhere. But it's another nice thing to have. It's not going to charge your phone real fast. To me, it is kind of like one of those nightstand type deals where you don't want to see the charger and you don't mind it going really slow because it's going to be able to charge for like 9 hours or something like that.
Right.
I mean, it's nice that they're improving the technology that they have, not requiring you to make a gigantic hole in your table. So just it's $40 for some people. That's, inexpensive, and it'll be a nice upgrade to their non-wireless charging table.
There you go. Very nice. Do you, I guess we'll talk about this. It's the last article here.
Let's do it.
Android 6 and up will start stripping unused apps permissions. So essentially, if you don't use apps, Android's going to take care of it. Is that what we're seeing here?
Yeah. So what's cool about this? So if you install an app on Android as it is now, as long as you have Android 10 and below, Android 11 and up, this feature is already enabled. But Android 10 and below, if you were to install an app and say it had crazy permissions that it wanted access to, it has those forever.
Right.
If you don't manually take those away, it has access to your location or whatever permissions you've given it in the past. With this update, which is going to be available on all phones, Android 6 and up, as long as you have the Google Play Store, then it will remove those permissions from that app without you having to do anything. If you haven't used the app within like a certain amount of time, I think it's within like 2 weeks or a month or something, it'll remove those permissions. And that way, the next time you open the app, if it's something that you want, then it'll have to ask for those permissions again, which to me is a good way to do things. Limit the amount of access that apps have to my device and my information, and then 100%. Allow me to go in and grant those permissions back if I want to use that app after all.
Right.
So it's just like a nice little bonus feature that everybody that uses an Android phone will be getting it at some point. So I think it'll actually be released in December, with the rollout finishing sometime in Q1 2022. So be between December and the first quarter that it'll show up on your phone.
If you have
Android
10 or below, or 6 and up.
6 and up, yeah.
Right. All right. This is what everybody's been waiting for.
Well, I guess
tuned in because you want to know what Microsoft is up to and what's coming out, especially now that we're getting close to Christmas. What are things that you can buy for yourself or for others that
Your favorite loved one.
yes, that is from Microsoft, which I'll say there was a point in time where you didn't want necessarily a Microsoft device, but I think they've come pretty far, and
Yeah.
they've got some nice stuff.
So their Surface products have been pretty good for a while.
Yeah.
And they're definitely devices I would recommend if you're looking for something that's just super easy to maintain and use on a regular basis. So the big one is the new redesigned Surface Pro 8. So this really is kind of the daddy of the devices here. Let me share my screen. If you're listening to this, obviously you're not going to see it, but if you're watching it, you can at least see some of these images. It is a detachable tablet device, and you have the option of buying the keyboard and pin if you want to, although those do add to the price, just like if you're to buy like an iPad or something. But the stylus has a specific spot set up in the keyboard, which is nice. It's designed that way, and it hides away whenever things are folded, and it looks pretty nice. It's got a 3:2 aspect ratio, so the screen is taller. It's not like a widescreen display, which a widescreen display is good for watching things, not necessarily for creating things or doing spreadsheets and things like that. So this aspect ratio is definitely the one that I prefer on my devices, and some of the benefits of that new screen are it's bigger. It also is 120 hertz. I know we talked about that refresh rate on the new iPhones, the Pros and the Pro Max. It really is a big deal, the 120 hertz refresh rate. It just makes everything so much smoother on the device. Using the device feels faster because the display is faster. I know that sounds like something that seems obvious, but if you were to use a regular laptop that doesn't have that feature, and then you use the laptop with the 120 hertz refresh rate, it's a night and day difference how smooth it looks. They have user replaceable SSDs, which is the internal solid state drive, which is super nice to be able to upgrade and increase your storage on your own. That is not a feature you get in a lot of laptops. And they now have a pair of Thunderbolt 4 ports that are making Microsoft get with the times.
Finally.
Yeah, so Thunderbolt 4 just gives you so much more functionality when you attach external devices, increases the bandwidth of that port, and lets you do a whole lot more with it. Multiple monitors and USB devices, Ethernet devices, just tons of add-ons and features you can add for that. So the Core i5 8 gig, 128 gig of storage version of this, which is probably the base that I would recommend for a computer nowadays, starts at $1,100. Plus, if you get the keyboard and the pin, that's another $280. If you just want the keyboard, it's only $180. But I mean, you got to factor those things in there, because those, I mean, who's going to use a computer without a keyboard at this point? I mean, you could do like a wireless keyboard, but you're probably going to want this to be portable, and attaching it's the best way to go.
I think for what you're getting, that's actually, what is that, $1,400 is not that bad, considering how mobile it is, functional.
Yeah, I think it's
keyboard.
Pretty price comparable to most other things. I think even the iPad, it's pretty price comparable when you add on the iPad Pro. I should put that in there. You're not gonna get the iPad that's $330 and then put a keyboard on there and it's gonna be close to $1,400. Yeah, I mean it's not gonna be the same performance level, but an iPad Pro with the same add-ons is gonna be very similar in price. One of the interesting things that they're adding to this, so they have a new Surface Slim Pen 2, is what they're calling it. I don't think anybody ever comes up with the great names for these accessories. But one of the cool things is that they're adding a haptic vibration motor that supposedly recreates the feeling you get with a pen on paper.
Interesting.
Yeah. Getting some of that resistance, I think, that at least the feeling of resistance makes it feel a little more like writing. Could go a long way in making it be someone's, full-time device instead of taking notes on a piece of paper or something like that.
Right.
Could go a long way for some people, but
I think like this is, I think what we, so my middle daughter's in architect school or school for architecture, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I think that this is what she is needing to get.
Well, there you
I think
go.
this is what they recommend is obviously not the 8, but when she signed up, they recommend, I think, a 7.
Has she gotten anything yet?
Not yet. No.
Now you know what you're getting your daughter for Christmas.
I do.
Don't get the i5 version though.
No, not for what she's going to have to be doing. I think i5 was the minimum.
Yeah, probably i7 is definitely the way to go. But these are 11th gen Intel processors, so they're the best of the best that you can get on a laptop right now. You can configure this thing up to 32 gigs of RAM, and I think 2 terabytes of storage is what I read somewhere. That may be a different device, but it's a lot, lots of storage that you can add on this thing, and I'm sure you'll pay a significant amount for it. But the Surface Pro 8, if I could recommend devices to people, this one would be one of those devices I would recommend, and then I would recommend Windows computers, and then I would recommend the Dell XPS line of computers as well, whatever fits your budget in that range. But those are usually the ones that I recommend to people. One of the things that will be with all of these Surface products, except for the phone, is that they all will come with Windows 11, and they're all being released on October. What's the day that October 5th is the day that Windows 11 launches. So they're all shipping the same day that Windows 11 comes out, and they will all come with Windows 11. So just be aware of that. If you don't like Windows 11, then you can live in the past and buy something else.
Have you used Windows 11 yet?
I have not used Windows 11 yet. I don't know if I have a device that I can spare that supports Windows 11, because they're very particular about what devices can run Windows 11. If it doesn't support it, then they make you sign a disclaimer or some nonsense, and they're like, we won't support this configuration. It's like, all right, Microsoft, way to be a real jerk about it. I was trying to find a non-offensive word to use. My brain was cycling through the Rolodex of non-offensive words.
Now, in addition to the new Surface Pro 8, they do have a Surface Laptop Studio, which is a
brand new device,
which doesn't detach like I guess the Surface Pro does from the keyboard, and you can almost like use it by itself as a pad type thing. It's here, I'll show the picture if you want to talk about it. Oh, you already got it. Look at
you. Yeah. It's kind of weird. So the screen looks like the Surface Pro 8, right?
Right.
So it's got that, this kind of shows you some of the different ways you can, so it looks like a laptop in its normal configuration. But then the screen can kind of tilt out away from the back of, I don't know how to describe this in a great way. The screen can kind of tilt out from the back and partially cover the key, or I guess fully cover the keyboard, and you can still use the trackpad if you want to.
Right.
And then it can also lay completely flat. So this kind of mirrors what they did with their Surface Studio like desktop computer. So they're definitely targeting this at creatives. So people who need to be able to write on a device, because the fact that it folds flat like this makes it a little more conducive to that kind of work. And I think this one also, yeah. So this one can be a little higher spec than the Surface Pro, because this one has a pretty extensive built-in cooling system. So it says it can be configured with the same, like up to 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabytes. But you can put in a pretty decent graphics card, an RTX 3050 Ti. For a mobile graphics card, that's one of the highest ones you can get. It's obviously not going to play crazy 3D games or anything like that, but it can still play some pretty decent ones on there. And it's just, I think the biggest thing about this is it's kind of a weird device, to be honest.
It is. It's very weird.
So, I mean, on the surface, it kind of just looks like a MacBook Pro. If you weren't to know anything was different about this, but it also includes this weird thing at the bottom of the laptop. So, like where the MacBook Pro would normally end, and it'd be like a real slim device. There's like another like thing at the bottom. I think it's just for cooling, because it has like such a, I don't know, workhorse graphics card or something, but it's a very strange thing. I like that the device is able to be used in different kinds of ways, but it's a first generation device. I think this is one of those wait and see type of deals, unless this really suits a need for you. But yeah, it's got the 120 hertz screen again. It's got a 14.4 inch screen. The Surface Pro, I think, is like a 13 inch screen. It's got the same 3:2 aspect ratio, so it's a little bit taller. But yeah, not sure why they went with this instead of this. They replaced the Surface Book, which allowed you to kind of fold the computer down into like a tablet type deal. This one just like folds over the keyboard. I'm not 100% sure on this one. This is kind of a weird one for me.
Yeah, we'd have to see it and see what happens with using it. I just assume that they're doing this because you can, like you said, you can put a little bit more power to it and get a little bit more performance out of it than the Surface Pro.
Yeah, this definitely seems more like a workstation laptop. If you're familiar with those, it's just a more powerful version of a regular laptop, but not as powerful as some of those workstations. So it's kind of a weird spot for this.
Kind of in between.
Yeah, which I don't know if I would recommend this for anybody, to be honest, unless you have a very, like I said, very specific use case.
Well, so then moving on, what do you think about the Surface Go 3, which is, I guess, the cheaper version of a Surface Pro?
And sort of. Yeah, it's definitely the cheaper version. You're right, and it's way less powerful.
And it meets the bare minimum for Windows 11.
Yeah. Here's my thought on a Surface Go. So this one's is literally just a slightly faster processor. But this thing's base processor is garbage. Anyways, I've looked at these before, and all the reviews were always, this thing is too slow, not really worth the $400. So it starts at $400 because they're trying to compete with the iPad, which is at $330. My thought is, if you were going to buy this, buy an iPad. You'll be better off with an iPad. This computer, in my opinion, makes no sense. The $400 version is garbage. And to get something that's better, you're probably going to be closer to $800 or $900, I think, on this thing. And this thing is definitely not an $800 or $900 computer. Definitely not worth that much. This is another one of those weird products. It's like, why is this a product?
Well, I think that they're trying to just hit that entry level market, and again, they show a picture of a drawing, like a kid's drawing on it. I think it's kind of like this introduction. You can get it for your kids that have Zoom or Microsoft Teams with their school. It's compatible with Windows. I know the iPad is generally compatible, but it's just some people find it easier if everything's the same Windows plan, whatever you want to call it. I think it's just, hey, let's get in. I need a laptop for my kids. This is what they use, and then they can go and do it.
Yeah, you're definitely right. This is one of those, I need Windows, or I need a Windows app, a specific one that the iPad doesn't have. That's the only reason I could see someone buying this over an iPad. iPad's going to be more performant. It's probably going to be better in a lot of other ways. And it's, yeah. If you have that one specific need, that one weird Windows app that nothing else can work with, then definitely get this. But otherwise,
well, it probably won't even work with this processor.
It'd be too slow.
But yeah, I think it's there. Here, buy this for your kids. They can use it for school, kind of thing.
Yeah, and even then, I would feel bad as a parent giving that to my child. This is one of those, I don't know if you've seen Game of Thrones, where it's the shame. That's me anytime I see one of these things. Shame. Nice. You fell for the salesman's pitch. All right. I'm gonna switch these up. So the last one I'm gonna save. I'm gonna do the Surface Duo last, and then we'll do the Pro X on this one.
All right. The Pro X.
This is also another weird device. So this one is an ARM.
I did not read this beforehand. I'll just say
so this one's an ARM-based processor, so it's not even it doesn't even run regular Windows apps really well. I don't know really what to say about this. Its entry price is $900. This one is more strange to me than the Surface Pro or the Surface 3 or whatever one we just talked about.
Surface Go.
It's so forgettable. I have already forgotten its name.
Right.
This one's even more strange to me. So this is an ARM-based processor. It's not even like, hey, I need to buy it for that one Windows program, because this one doesn't run regular Windows programs real good or real well, if I'm speaking good English. And so it has to emulate those programs, which always slows things down. I'm not sure why this device exists other than Microsoft wanted to hit another random thing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this one they keep doing a new version of. This one just doesn't make sense to me at all. It's kind of it's the weirdest of all devices.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, it's what, a couple $100 less.
Than the Pro. You might as well get the Pro 8. You might as well get the Pro 8 if you're going to buy this. The Pro 8 is going to be so much better. It's going to support all the same accessories and things like that. This one, in my opinion, shouldn't exist at all. This is a dumb product.
Well, they maybe didn't sell that many of the previous versions, so they just kind of upgraded it.
Just swapped out the hardware.
Yes, and they're just trying to get rid of the the casings and everything of it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the.
Why are we even talking about this?
I don't know. That's all we need to talk about with that one. That's a bizarre, dumb device.
All right. So our last thing to talk about is the Microsoft Surface Duo 2.
Yeah.
That is I didn't even know I didn't even know about the Surface Duo 1, to be honest with you.
Nobody really did. It did not sell well at all. So I think they started out being sold for like $1,400 when they went on sale last year around the same time. They're still trying to get rid of them at the bargain basement price of like $400. That just goes to show you how terrible they sold. There are some improvements to this over last year's model. Some that are pretty nice to have. So it's got the most up to date processor for Android phones. So it's going to run as fast as any other Android phone, theoretically. 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, and a much bigger battery. This is like a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, which is a pretty good sized battery. They also included NFC this year, which was missing from last year, which lets you do like tap to pay and a bunch of other things. This is now no longer the thinnest Android device ever. Last year's model was the thinnest Android device of all time at 4.8 millimeters thick, which us Americans don't understand what millimeters are. We need freedom units. And now each half, instead of being 4.8 millimeters, is 5.5 millimeters. So still one of the thinnest Android devices ever. And it comes with millimeter wave 5G, which, as we talked about in a previous podcast, is a pointless technology because the range is garbage. So the screens are also bigger than they were last year. I guess I should say, for those who can't see this, this is a 2-screen device that folds open like a book.
Right.
And they're 2 distinct screens. So it's not like the Samsung Galaxy Fold, which is like one big screen.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2 distinct screens. So it looks similar but very different at the same time.
Almost like the old Nintendo DS.
Yes,
that's what it reminds me of.
Frame of reference for those who owned a DS. So this also comes with a 90 hertz refresh rate, which is, once again, still better than 60. So that is a nice quality of life improvement. One of the interesting things that they added to this year is the inside portion of the screen, the part that folds together, is actually curved on both screens. So when you close it, you actually get like a little window into the screen. So you get notifications on this little kind of, I don't know how thin that would be. For Americans, let's say it's like a quarter of an inch tall. So you can see the time, your notifications, like missed calls, messages, Teams messages, because it's a Microsoft product. And so it's kind of a nice way, so you don't have to like flap open this gigantic device. And you've taken over the screen share.
I've taken it because you left it on the one picture, so I just kind of wanted to show.
I did. That's the one I was talking about. But yeah, so that part is pretty interesting to me. Everybody's trying to find a way to show you your information without making you open the foldable phones at this point.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them just have that exterior screen, like on the Z Fold and the Z Flip phones. They literally just have a screen on the outside of the phone where you can see those notifications. They did things a little different. I kind of like it. I kind of like that part. And they included cameras this year. Last year, they had one internal camera that was mostly for video calls, and it was pure garbage. But this year, they included the standard three cameras. It's like the main sensor, the telephoto, and the ultra wide. This also supports that new Surface Pin that every other Surface device supports, and it will magnetically attach to the outside of the device, which is super nice. So when you fold it in half, when you fold
inside.
Yeah, like inside out. It will fit next to the camera bump on the outside of the device. And
That's nice, but it can still fall off coming out of my pocket.
yeah, I mean this is definitely probably not one of those devices that's great for a pocket just
No.
based on the size alone. The, they want I was watching like a kind of a real short version of the conference, and someone showed it as like a great way to do Teams meetings. I was like, this is kind of like a good use for this device, but I don't see it being like a main phone. But it was like so you have the two screens, you could literally fold the device in half, kind of like a laptop essentially. Um, and you could have the attendees videos on the top screen and um, the content that's being shared or the whiteboard being shared on the other screen, and you can mark it up with the stylus or the pen, and just kind of contribute to a meeting without having to have a full laptop. I think that's kind of a nice concept. I don't know. It's definitely not worth it, in my opinion, to buy it for that specific use case. But
Right. It seems to me that the market share on that would be kind of like razor thin on the type of people that would need this and then go out and buy it
for $1,500,
for $1,500. When you know your iPhones are getting better, uh, your Pixels, your Samsungs, or whatever. I get that they want to be in this market. I don't know. Maybe it's because they have the commercial. They are able to the business side of it. They can sell to businesses and maybe mass sell them to
yeah,
that everybody. Yeah, I don't know, but it just seems like to me that this market share would be so thin for them with this type of device that it almost doesn't seem like.
it's worth it
Yeah.
for them.
Eh,
Yeah, and
we'll just wait till they knock $1,000 off the price again and get it for $400 or $500.
I I think if this one were to end up at like $400 or $500, I might actually give it a shot, just because I think it's an interesting device. Um, Not something I'm willing to make my like primary device
Right.
on a daily basis, but something that would be kind of fun to mess around with. Still at 400 or $500, it's still kind of like a hard sell. But for me, um, especially since it's not my main device, but it'd be kind of interesting to play around with it and see use cases for it. I will point out that they were not. So this runs on Android. They were not real great with their Android support on the first one. Hopefully, they have a lot of that worked out. I think they actually bought the company that was making the Android version for the last device. They bought them and brought them in house.
Sounds like Microsoft.
Well, I mean, it makes sense if you're going to have someone making the software for your device, you might
Right.
as well bring that in house. But yeah, I mean, they've got $100 billion plus sitting in a bank. Why not spend the
Hmm.
money on making things better for devices you plan on apparently making multiples of? Uh,
Exactly.
so it once again, interesting device. Don't know if it's worth it unless you really just have a specific use case for this. I mean, it does. Things are weird on these separate screens. So it's got the two screens, but each screen is so wide. It's real weird to use. Like the keyboard still requires like two hands because the
Yes.
keyboard's so wide. Um,
It's
Everything's just not like normal phone width.
right.
So it's
It's a
it's just
weird
real bizarre.
size.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, your hands just aren't. I don't know.
They
It,
definitely make it seem like they want you to use it always with two hands, but in like the folded form to some extent to where you can utilize both screens at the same time. Um, I don't know. Not something that I would buy.
yeah. I don't know. It's just it seems like these Microsoft products, they're just weird, some of them.
Yeah. Definitely the Surface Pro 8. Thumbs up for me. Everything else, I would probably not recommend. Sadly, that is the way.
1 out of 6. You know,
Not bad for Microsoft, I think.
they have Windows, so everybody has to run Windows.
That's all that matters, right?
Wow, that was a lot of information in one episode, and I think we got it pretty close to an hour. I think we went over a little bit, but
we talked fast. We skipped details.
We did.
We thought of you the whole time.
And we really expressed what we didn't like this episode.
Yes. Jeremiah and me both expressed what we didn't like.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
I hope you are. Check us out on Facebook. Leave us comments on YouTube. Listen to us on any podcast and share us with your friends. Your friends want to know where you're getting all this information that is just blowing their minds. So be nice. Be kind. Sharing is caring.
Tell them
Geeking Out Ninjas.
Geeking Out Ninjas. Yeah.
GON. Any last words?
Stay safe out there, folks.
And do not get ESPN Plus.
Don't do it.
We'll see you next week.
Ta-ta.